Hi guys, welcome to this month's edition of Talking About Podcast with myself, Stephen Donoghue, and my new co-host, Craig King.
Stephen, it's good to be here, isn't it? Down in the studio here in London, it's brilliant. Done a couple of these in the past where it was online, but it's nothing like what it's like here, so good to be here. I'm looking forward to the episode.
Yeah, super excited, especially that we are talking about my favourite topic in the world, Sky Sports. So we're diving into all of the amazing campaigns, and no better two guests to have with us today. So we've got Tom Orel, our marketing lead, and Linda Robinson, our colleague experience and event manager, to give us a bit more insight into some of the amazing marketing campaigns you've seen.
Tom, Linda, thanks very much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good stuff. So I think just to kick things off, some of the guys will know you probably more so than Tom, Linda, I think it's fair to say. But just for the guys that are listening, it'd be good to do a little bit of an introduction. So, Linda, start with yourself. Do you want to just give us a little bit of background and your career in Sky?
So I have been at Sky for 3.5 years. In the creative studio, colleague and engagement and experience manager. So anything that you see online and in the contact centres that kind of bring products and services to life, that's what I do, along with the rest of my team.
Wonderful. And Tom?
Great. I've been at Sky for 6 years now. 4 of those years have been in sports. So I work in the kind of campaigns and advertising team. So essentially what our team does is all of the kind of what we would call above the line assets, but in plain speak, all of the kind of marketing materials you see out in the world, whether it's driving home, watching TV, that comes out of my team. So we look after all sports, so everything from football to F1. I'm very excited today to be talking about Premier League.
Wonderful. And I know neither of you guys have mentioned it there, but we were having a bit of a chat about it off camera. Linda, you're obviously a Tottenham fan.
Yes,
Tom,
indeed.
you're an Arsenal fan, right? So
a little bit of rivalry
really
here.
hard to get you sitting next to each other in the room today.
I'm surprised we've actually not just switched seats.
We're just gonna. I'm just gonna lean this way.
We're in the off season, so I suppose this is kind of a period where we can speak. So it's lucky we're doing this podcast now.
We can talk now. 15th of August.
Yes, it's over.
It's finished.
I'll see you in May.
Finished.
Well, I'm glad you're repping the white, Linda.
I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about the green.
Fab. Listen, guys, just before we get into kind of the crux of it and what we want to talk about in terms of questions, we just want to do a little bit of an icebreaker, right? So it's a little bit of a quiz, a little bit of competition. Great. We're talking about sports. Everybody loves a bit of competition, right? So what we're going to do, we've got. You guys seen catchphrase before?
I have seen catchphrase.
Yeah, and the standard quote off of that or line off of that is say what you see, right?
What you
so
see.
We're going to show you guys a few puzzles, and it is literally say what you see. So let's see who can get them right, who can get them right first. For the guys that are playing along at home, feel free to join in if you're watching the podcast. Pop your answers in the team chat, let us know how many you got right. So they'll pop up on screen for you at home, but we're going to show you guys here today, alright? So it is literally say what you see.
Crossroads.
Correct. 1-0 Tottenham.
I am going to be so bad at this.
1-0 Tottenham. Oh, this is stumping you guys.
I mean, it's head cover, but it's not head cover because there's.
You're right. It's not head cover, but it's close. It's close.
Closer.
How many covers are there?
4 head cover. 1.
There are 4.
Clover.
Oh,
this is rapid fire. We'll need to pass on this one.
No, go on, pass. I can't.
Head for cover. Is that one?
Oh, head for cover.
Because there's 4 of them. And the last one?
Oh. Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Well, I think that might be a 1-0 to Spurs.
Yeah. 2-0 Spurs and a draw in the second one.
2-0,
so
we'll
take that. It's been a successful start to the football season for Tottenham. We'll take it that way.
Let's hope.
It's a good start. Wonderful. Thanks, guys. That was just to get us started.
Yeah, cool. So let's just dive straight into it then. So talk to us about the most recent campaign you've been working on.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can go. So probably the last big one we had before the one we're working on right now is probably our F1 campaign back in February and March. And I think what we were looking to do with that campaign is we know that a huge amount of fans have come into that sport through the likes of Drive to Survive, podcast, the name of it. Our campaigns for traditionally spoken to probably our more traditional F1 audience, and what we wanted to do with that campaign is speak to this younger, more engaged audience on social, but perhaps aren't watching the races live. So what we were really looking to do with that is almost tell them, like, You love this sport, but you're actually missing, I suppose, the main event as part of it. They like all of the kind of like social content and the stories behind it, but it's actually all rooted in the live experience, which is something that Sky uniquely offers. So we went out with our first campaign ever that is kind of social first. And kind of planned that in a way that we've never done before. Historically, our F1 campaigns, we go live ahead of the season. We promote for a couple of races. We have a lot of noise in market, but then we kind of go off air and then rely on kind of broadcast to continue promoting it. What we look to do with that campaign is really extend it out. So we kind of promoted for the first 10 races, and what's been really promising is we've seen really positive kind of commercial performance off the back of it. So I think that's one that really kind of stands out in terms of a new way of thinking. What we're trying to do, we're constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to evolve and see how we can do things better to ultimately reach new kind of prospective audiences to Sky.
Yeah, from our perspective, that was an interesting campaign because we can't always assume that everybody that we're talking to across the contact centre estates are fans. Yeah. So what was really nice about this campaign was you were kind of getting into the heart of the drivers and using them. So you would have seen, what's the best thing about being an F1 driver, and it's being an F1 driver. So we really tapped into that, and the campaign that we did for CSG was allowing people to kind of pick who their favourite driver would be or who they resonate with more, and then answer questions in the way that that person would answer those questions. And also when we did our on-site, kind of really getting into AI now and how we can use that. So we use AI to, just dipping our toe into the water, but getting people to see themselves as an F1 driver. So take your photo and it'll just give you what you would look like if you were wearing the racing suit and the helmet. So again, just trying to get into that heart of being, more into F1 rather than just kind of reading about it. So yeah, it actually went down really well.
I think it's such a good point as well, because I think often with F1 as well, people almost have a fear of it because it's quite technical and there's lots of like jargon, when actually if you really boil it down, it's about the drivers and it's about the personalities and it's about great racing. So that's ultimately what sport is. It's entertainment, and I think we're trying to kind of probably both of our teams trying to seed that through everything we do, and hopefully that then helps advisors then talk about it, because you don't often. We all have human interactions. We all enjoy watching content. I think that's an interesting dynamic which perhaps we've been guilty of not doing in the past, but are definitely doing more.
Yeah, and I think this season was particularly interesting, just seeing Lewis Hamilton in the red.
Exactly.
And seeing how many people were going to be Team Lewis or Team Mercedes. It's a difficult one, but I definitely followed Lewis.
You both support different football teams. Do you both have the same driver?
I'm Team Lewis all the way.
Yeah, I'm Team Lewis. We very much come together on that on that front.
Yeah.
Although I do really like Lando as well. But yeah, it's always got to be Lewis, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Lando is going to be a very good kind of apprentice to Lewis and get that number one spot from him, because he's great. He is brilliant.
Cool. Other than obviously your what's the most memorable campaign that you've worked on?
I think for me, well, I've only been doing this for 3 years. So last year with Sky Sports Plus, because it was such a massive change and such a massive prop, and it gave us scope to talk about all sports. So normally at this time of the year, we're talking about start of football season, but this was everything. So we were talking about golf, we were talking about tennis, we were talking about football, we were talking about rugby, and it just gave us scope to do something huge, and take something to sites where if you weren't a football fan, you might be a tennis fan. If you weren't a tennis fan, you might be a cricket fan. So it really allowed us to kind of, talk about the breadth of sport that our guys are talking to customers about, and to have some fun with that as well. So we were able to utilise Sky Live and the games on Sky Live, which was really good fun. And just right across the campaign, we did things like, Premier League, everybody knows about Premier League, but the Football League itself, there's all of these teams that people particularly in our contact centres offshore, might not know about. So how can we educate them so that they can have those conversations with customers? So yeah, it was a brilliant campaign. It was massive, and I loved it.
I'm going to completely echo Linda's thoughts. This is probably the first time in history that
Spurs
and Arsenal have agreed on something. I think from our perspective, it was probably we've never done marketing in that way. I think to Linda's point, we were able to speak to probably fans that hadn't probably felt like Sky Sports was for them in the past, especially with the EFL rights deal. It gave us a really interesting opportunity from a marketing perspective to do, I suppose, personalisation at scale. So creating bespoke assets for all 72 of those kind of fans of those EFL teams. So, if you're in Stockport or Macclesfield, you're driving into work, you're seeing creative that is related to your team, listening to it on the radio, when you're scrolling at lunchtime on your phone and you're seeing advertising in that way. We produced over 1,000 assets for that campaign. I think it's kind of probably set the standard for how we look to do, I suppose, marketing in the future. So when we look at kind of what we're doing for this year, we're following a very similar approach in terms of how can we be really bespoke to local messages, which has proven really successful in terms of engagement and ultimately commercial performance as well off the back of Sky Sports Plus, which ultimately is our main barometer for success.
I mean, you would have seen those, Stephen.
I did, absolutely. Yeah, I think I love the EFL. Not too bothered now. Now we're back in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I used
don't
to
get too comfy.
Honestly, it were amazing. Being a fan in there, like you said, just being able to watch your team. I know loads of fans that we've got in our office. Bradford City fans have probably been shown on TV twice in 10 years maybe, and now they've got the opportunity to be able to watch the team. I thought that were amazing. And then when you were driving into Bradford, you could see all the billboards, the local as well, which were good. And same as Leeds, it was actually nice not driving at Leeds City Centre and having Man United billboards everywhere like we've had in the past.
I think it made people kind of proud, didn't it, as well, to kind of go, I support, this is my local team, I support them, which is great. So yeah, I mean, it was a monster campaign.
It was a bit of a monster, but hey, I think that's the great thing about working at Sky and advertising is we're always, across all of our teams, we're always trying to push to do what's the next thing we can do differently? Like, how can we do this better than we've ever done? And I think having that ambition means you don't kind of rest on your laurels and you keep growing. It just ultimately makes it an exciting place to work.
Yeah, and I think you have to be always striving to do more because, we deliver a start of season campaign year after year after year.
Yeah.
How do we make it different? How do we make it resonate with our teams so that they can go on to have brilliant customer conversations? So we're always thinking about with these guys how we can make it a bit more exciting, a bit more engaging. So
that's probably a very nice link into the next question I had, because one of the things that we were keen to understand in a bit more detail is how, when you guys are doing that, how do you balance the creativity with the business objectives when you're thinking about when you're thinking about coming up with a campaign?
Look, I think they go hand in hand, right? Especially within kind of our world, we're always looking for creativity. Creativity is king. We need great ideas, because without great ideas, it's often quite difficult then to hit your kind of business objectives. I think as a team, we kind of straddle kind of the sports broadcasting side of the business, but also the commercial part of the business. We know that whatever we do, we need to ensure that it's hitting the objectives that we set for the campaign, and they might be different for each campaign. What we set for a Premier League start of season would be very different to, for example, launching a tennis channel last year. I think what we always try and do is keep the brief we set at the start of the project, and that can often be 6 months after delivery, and keep that front of mind for then as a constant reference point for, the creative's great, but is this doing what we need it to? And it's constantly circling back to that. And I think our processes at Sky mean that that's quite easy a lot of the time because we're having regular check-ins with stakeholders, and that's often what we need to kind of showcase to the business that's the approach we're taking. But Linda, I don't know.
Yeah, I think from a CSG point of view, I mean, ultimately it's driving upgrades, reducing downgrades. So equipping our teams with the information that they need. Again, I'm going to keep saying to have brilliant customer conversations. So, you know, a customer rings up and says, you know, potentially, I'm not sure I want Sky Sports because I'm not a football fan. But it's, well, do you know, we show tennis, we show all the golf majors, we're showing the British and Irish Lions rugby. There's all of this breadth of sports that if you don't like one or you're not interested in one, there's always something else. So it's about, again, taking the creative that these guys create and then turning that into something that's going to resonate with our teams. Because I think as well, you know, if I didn't work at Sky, I mean, before I worked at Sky, I was a Sky Sports customer anyway, because, you know, love the football. And it's just taking that and making it resonate with our teams so that they can then go on and have those customer conversations, but always bearing in mind, yes, we want to be engaging, yes, we want them to have fun, and sometimes they get a bit of merch along the way, but it's not just about that, it's about an education piece as well, so that they can go on and obviously drive those upgrades.
Yeah, so you mentioned there briefly about upgrades. How else could you measure success?
I think it's kind of reducing is the word churn. I hear that a lot. You know, reducing the downgrades because, you know, I think typically you see a lot of, okay, it's May, football season's over.
Yeah.
That's my sport. Well, I'm going to downgrade and I'll come back in August when the football season starts again. So how do we bridge that gap? And it's by making sure they're talking to customers about everything that they can see. Sky Sports is not just about football.
Yeah.
It's about all these other brilliant sports that you wouldn't be able to see anywhere else. So yeah, that's how we make sure, yes, it's football. You know, this Premier League start of season is about football, but we're also still talking about Sky Sports Plus. We're also still talking about the sports that they can see in that off season. So.
Well, just to build on that, obviously the commercials are really important, but as I mentioned, we have other kind of metrics that we look to track. So a lot of those are kind of what we would call brand metrics, where we're essentially going out to consumers and understanding, well, what do you think of us as a brand? Do you consider us as a brand? Do you want Sky, but you find the barriers to purchase is price? We're doing a lot of that kind of tracking. We've got a huge amount of metrics that help us kind of define the success of campaigns, whether it's awareness of the campaign or whatnot. And then, you know, post the campaign, we work with a lot of our kind of internal data teams to really, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of triggers that define what's driving an upgrade, whether it's a great conversation with an advisor, whether it's a billboard they've seen, whether it's the weather and it's a rainy day and people want to stay in. We pull all those triggers together and we can then almost start mapping out, okay, what is driving our upgrades? And that's done by lots of clever techie people in our business, but it gives us a great understanding for when we then look forward to Premier League start of season 2026. What can we do differently? Like, what really worked last year, which we want to build on, what perhaps didn't work as well, which we want to think about new ways of doing it, which it is interesting. I think Sky's just got a wealth of data, and it's how we use it to kind of help us better understand ultimately what customers are looking for.
Yeah, sure. And you guys have obviously both mentioned already that you're football fans. We've established that earlier on in the podcast and in the conversation today. So I suppose the obvious answer to this next question would probably be football for both of you, I would suspect. But if you take football aside for a second, is there a sport that you guys get particularly excited about when it comes to marketing from a Sky Sports perspective?
For me, it's golf. I am a relative newbie golfer into my third year. And I've always watched golf, even before I started playing. I think it was the Ryder Cup that got me into it. But I saw the Ryder Cup on Sky Sports, didn't see it anywhere else. So, yeah, any opportunity to get involved in a golf campaign. And I was actually really lucky enough, and I'm hoping to get the chance again, to be in the studio for the captain's pick picks, which was amazing.
That is a great day.
So yeah, Tom, if you can get me on there, that'd be amazing.
I will.
Thank you.
Well, if I can somehow manage to wangle myself,
we'll go together.
We will go together. We will go together. I think for me, I'll probably choose one of our kind of newer rights in tennis. I think, as a marketeer, it's a brilliant sport. It's so creatively rich, and I think because Sky's perhaps not known for it, it allows us to, I suppose, behave in a slightly different way, be a bit more playful, be a bit more challenging. Working on the tennis launch a couple of years ago was just so much fun because you get to play in lots of new insights, and I think Premier League's awesome and F1's awesome, but they've kind of been Sky properties for a long time, and we know those sports inside out. It's actually really nice kind of interacting with a sport which perhaps we're not as well known for, and leads to some really interesting, I suppose, creative jumping off points.
Nice. And you guys have touched on this again a little bit through what you've said already, but maybe able to build on it here. What does collaboration look like between our team and CNCE, and then Sky Sports generally look like behind the scenes? And obviously you're talking about it from a marketing perspective, Tom, right? But just in general, what does that collaboration look like between our team and Sky Sports as a brand?
I mean, I think, it's a given that we have to collaborate because, without our teams talking to customers, we wouldn't be driving those sales, those upgrades. So we, right at the beginning, we get briefs. We get a bit of an insight into what the campaign is going to look like. And we're tasked with going away and coming up with a campaign that's going to work for our teams. But there's a lot of collaboration. We practically talk every single day. And, whether it's about assets or when things are going live or access to marketing materials, access to teams in marketing. So we're working on doing a video. Hopefully getting your new marketing director involved in that. And also these guys have a really good relationship with the team at Sky Sports. So relying on them saying, oh, do you know this person? Could you get them to do this for us? So yeah, we rely on each other, I think.
I think with the size of this organisation, collaboration is paramount to everything we do. It doesn't work unless we work really closely together and build great relationships, because ultimately we all want to work with teams and people that we really get on with. And I think that's the great thing kind of at Sky is it's kind of ingrained in us culturally, I think, to I suppose build those relationships, and going back to what Lynn said, I think we just have to do a lot of upfront planning as well. Like we plan early. We don't save the conversations till too late in the day. It's kind of, I think what's great about sports is there's always another sport, and it's constantly moving, which I think is fab.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we don't always agree on everything. Yeah. But that's where the great relationships and the conversations come in. If we were to present something and our stakeholder was like, I'm not really sure about that, it's up to us to have those conversations, so why we believe it's going to work that way or why they think it's not going to work that way, and then ultimately we come to a compromise or an agreement, and then that's what pushes the campaign forward.
And what would you say is the biggest challenge that you have working across different campaigns and collaborating?
I think for me is the position that I'm in and the team that I work with are in. We are not just focused on one prop. So at the moment I'm working on a broadband campaign, a sports campaign. We're talking about, dare I say, Christmas, and a mobile campaign. So we work right across the business. So juggling that can be a bit of a challenge, especially when go live dates are so close to each other. And there's nothing that we can't change those. So we just have to work smarter to make sure that things aren't overlapping for our contact centre teams. Like we would never do an activation in one site on one day and then an activation for another prop on another day. So there's a lot of kind of clever planning, sometimes some tear your hair out moments, but we get there. We make it work.
I did think you were going to say working with an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
I mean,
you did think about it, definitely. I think from my perspective, I think I suppose similar to Linda, there's a lot of, like, with sports, there's a lot of sports, and I mean, we have an embarrassment of riches at Sky Sports in terms of campaigns and sports that are on, but unfortunately those dates don't move and they're set in stone, and we work to a sporting calendar which can often, you can plan meticulously for, you know when the Premier League start of season is going to be. However, you don't know when something huge is going to happen in sport, which you perhaps haven't planned for. So it's that balancing act between those kind of planned events, which is a busy kind of landscape as it is, alongside those kind of editorial things, whether it's Jack Draper reaching a semi-final of the US Open, or, you know, something that happens in sport that we might not necessarily even have the rights for, like the Lionesses winning the Euros. Yeah. How do we kind of have a say in all of those things, and because we have a huge voice and almost an authority within sports, that we kind of need to be part of those conversations. But the great thing is it's sports. We get to talk about sports as our jobs. It's kind of it's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? So
oh, wonderful. That, and there's some really insightful guys, and loads that I've learned for that. I'm sure Stephen will be the same, and the viewers that will be watching as well. So thanks very much for sharing that. And before we let you go, we've just got a couple of other things that we wanted to do today. So we've got two sporting pros with us here
hopefully
today.
I'm better than the last one.
Whether you want to be called sporting pros,
you know.
whether you want to be called sporting pros or not, that's what we've labelled you at. You both work in sports on a day-to-day basis, so we thought we couldn't let you get out the room without testing your sporting knowledge.
Okay.
So what we've done, we've collated some sports together. Some of them are real, some of them are fake. I doubt you'll have ever marketed any of these sports, if I'm being brutally honest with you. So Stephen and I are going to throw the names of the sports at you, and we want you to work together this time. I know it's Tottenham and Arsenal,
no, that's
but work
fine.
together
We can do that.
in collaboration like you do on a day-to-day basis, and let us know whether you think the sport is real or fake. Once you've given us your answer, we'll let you know whether you were right or not, and we'll give you a bit of description as to what it is, and the viewers at home can play along as well. So,
cool.
First one is Bossable.
Bossable.
It's not like spelling bee where you spell the boss.
Spell the?
Yes. Can I get the spelling? Bossable. That can't be real.
I don't think it's real.
Shall we aligned? Not real.
Well,
what could it be?
I don't know.
It reminds me a little bit of, as a child you used to play that game where you throw it against like the curb and it would be like Kirby, but that's a bit...
Kirby was such a good game.
Oh, it's unbelievable,
that
wasn't
should
it?
be an Olympic
throwback.
Should be able to market Kirby, shouldn't
we? Maybe we'll go and have that conversation.
See if we can get the rights for that, Kirby World Championship.
Should we go no sport?
No sport.
We're going no sport?
No sport.
It's a bit like Would I Lie You, isn't it? This is what it's
it
like.
is,
It's not how it's intended, but that's a little bit what it's like. So, in true Bob Mortimer fashion, if anybody's watched that, every time you think it's not real, it's true. That's Bob Mortimer all over the back. That is true. Bossable. It is a sport.
Really?
Yeah, it is a sport. So, it is a team sport that originated in Brazil. It's a ball game between two teams that combines elements of volleyball, football, and gymnastics, and is played on an inflatable court featuring a trampoline.
Who asked for that sport?
What?
Where was the need for that sport? But sure, I mean, to anyone that's watching that plays
on an inflatable court.
The things that they try in Brazil. So it says here the trampolines allow the players to bounce high enough to spike the ball over the net. So there you go.
It does sound like great viewing.
I mean, it's great fun.
Well, the Bossable rights come up. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that was the.
I'm going to Google that.
We'll put it into the right
campaign.
That was the first one. Yeah. So Stephen will give you another one.
Okay.
Let's see how you get on with this.
Glove golf.
Logistically very difficult to swing. I'm assuming it's just hitting the ball with your hand.
So foot golf is a
game. I think there's one actually quite near Sky as well. So we could maybe go and do that after this. I want to say yes, but I feel.
But how would glove golf?
You'd really have to
Or
be
do you have to get
kind
a
of.
hit glove? Just stick with.
I'm thinking yes. But
We got the last one wrong.
I have not got a question right in both games yet. So,
So you think yes, I think
And Linda
no.
professed herself as the
Can
golf
we-
expert, right?
Yeah, you are the golf expert.
I'm not an
so-
expert. I just love the game. I think no. You think yes.
I will. Well, I've been wrong and you've been right pretty much on every question. So let's go with no.
Okay.
But I will hold it against you forever.
Okay, he will.
Yeah.
Arsenal fan. So yeah.
Correct, yeah, he's a fake sport.
What we've learned is do not
Don't
trust.
trust you.
Do not
Don't
trust
trust
me.
Tom. He knows nothing. He knows
I
nothing.
like the way you worked it out though, because logistically playing golf just with a glove
With a
is
glove,
very
it's
difficult.
crazy.
It would also
Yeah.
really
You're not
hurt.
going to hit the ball very
Yeah,
far, are you? Let's be honest. Window wipe relays.
Oh no, that sounds like fun.
I think that's real.
I think that's.
There used to be a game on Wii Sports where you had to clean windows, and it might just be the real version of that. I think that's real.
I think that could be real. And also, did you see the cleaner?
Oh.
On.
Oh, TV.
Sky,
oh no, I didn't.
On Sky Cinema.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, great film. And she was a window cleaner.
She was a professional cleaner.
She was. I think it's true.
Yeah,
I think it's real.
Yeah, real.
Go for real sport.
Yeah.
It's not real.
We're not very good at
Honestly,
this.
the description of that was teams
that
description of that was teams that compete to clean high-rise windows the fastest, but it is not a real sport, I'm afraid.
It should be.
It should be.
That would be great viewing.
We could be the
if you
creators.
think the four sides of the
that.
shard, four different teams, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Need to have some health and safety regulations.
There's probably an opportunity for any venture capitalists out there that want to invest in sport.
That.
Yeah.
And then somebody would say, "Who asked for that sport?"
Like me.
Yeah.
Give you another one, guys. Chess boxing.
Is that a bit like wizard's chess?
It does sound. Yeah, it does sound a bit like wizard's chess. I mean, again, it would probably be great viewing.
So what would you do? Move your chess piece and then
Just
smack someone?
Just lump someone.
Oh. It'd be fun.
Should we go yes?
Yeah.
It's probably a no.
It's probably a no, but let's go for yes. Just for gigs. Yeah.
You are correct.
Oh, brilliant.
A real sport.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love it.
So in between rounds of chess, they will box until one wins, or wins by checkmate or knockout, and they'll have a time penalty.
Brilliant.
Sure.
Sounds a great sport.
Again, who asked for this?
Yeah, who's picked up the rights for that one? I think that's on TNT.
Yeah, potentially. Last one, guys, we'll do in this. Now, this could be a controversial one, right, depending on how you want to think about the title of this sport and what it is. But wife carrying.
Oh, that is definitely a sport.
Do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen it. I swear.
Do you want to explain to us what it is if you've seen it?
So it's a race where your husband has to carry wife either like that or on the back.
Okay.
It's either in a very strange European country or like small places in America, but I promise you.
Okay,
it is true.
It's got a very niche, passionate audience of one.
Yeah, unless I'm having some really weird dreams, I swear I've seen this. So
You're correct, Linda. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it, and I'm impressed with your knowledge.
Linda tunes in every Thursday night.
I've got to say, Linda's knowledge on this is extremely, extremely impressive, because the description of it is competitors race while each carrying a partner. Whilst most teams consist of a man carrying a woman, there are generally no rules about gender or marital status. The objective is for the runner to carry their teammate through a special obstacle track in the fastest time, and the sport was first introduced in 1992 in Finland, which you just said some European
You're an
country.
absolute expert.
Now, I think you did say some weird, obscure or European country.
I did.
Not to be detrimental to anybody that comes from Finland.
Sorry,
the Finnish people are fantastic,
fabulous.
I'm sure.
They are.
But it was Finland that originated in 1992.
It's kind of an extreme egg
Amazing.
and spoon race, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, impressive knowledge. Listen, guys, thanks for playing along on that. You did pretty well there, to be fair, given that some were real and some weren't. And for the guys that were playing along at home, they can let us know how they got on.
Absolutely.
See if anybody matched your knowledge.
Tom, you finally got one right as well.
I did. I think 1 out of 9 in total. But hey ho.
Now we do have a piece that we do in every one of the Talking About podcasts, which is a random question. So our previous guest leaves a random question. We ask that random question to you guys. You give us your answer, and then you leave us a random question. We'll ask that to the guest that follows on from you guys. Just before we come on to the random question, though, it's only fair, we've spoken about it multiple times here, Tottenham fan and Arsenal fan. So can we get your predictions for the upcoming Premier League season for your respective teams? So Tom, I'm putting you under pressure.
I thought I was going to do a prediction for Spurs, which is really easy.
We've got a new manager, so we're going to give Linda a little bit of time to think here, but Arteta's been there for years now. Really, if you say anything other than winning the league here, it's going to be.
So I think we are going to break the duct of finishing second for 3 years in a row, and I think we are going to win.
Finish third.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
We are going to win the Premier League.
You still trust the process?
Massive trust in the process. Making some good signings. Obviously, by time of release of this recording, we might have signed, I don't know,
Mbappe.
Yeah, absolutely
So,
Not sure you'd want him based on
not sure I want him. No, I think we're going to win the league.
I think you're going to win a league. Okay. Confidence in that. We'll look back on it at the end of the season and see how you got on.
This better not go out in like April when we're sitting in 5th or something.
Now, Linda, obviously last season, a little bit tumultuous, right? Big injury crisis, finished 17th. However, as we reminded Tom earlier on, we did win a European trophy.
win a European trophy.
It's not been that many days since we last lifted the trophy, but how are we going to do in Thomas Frank's first season?
I mean, I have supported Tottenham for, I'm going to give away my age in a minute, for over 4 years. And I have faith in my team. I do not think we are going to win the league. I'm not stupid. And this is being recorded, so somebody will play it back to me. I think definitely top 6. I'm going to go for 4th. So we are definitely going to get into Europe in the coming season. So I'm going to go for 4th.
I mean, Thomas Frank's a brilliant manager.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely possible.
But I think we still need to just get a couple of those additional players that we need.
Yeah, a couple of
And
signings.
hurry up in the transfer window. Just get it done.
Yeah, well, I think 4th will be quite a good bounce back season, especially
Yeah.
with the Champions League campaign as well. So hopefully you're right with that one. Cool. So on to the random question. That was not the random question. We just added that one in. So our last guest asked what your favourite Tom Cruise film is. So Linda, we'll come to you first this time.
Gosh, I really don't like Tom Cruise. But I do like Tom Cruise films. But I just don't like Tom Cruise. I'm going to say probably Mission Impossible. The first one. Like a bit of action. I think the stunts were fantastic. I think he's doing a little bit too much now. But yeah, I think the first Mission Impossible film is mine.
That's a good choice. I had a mild panic when you asked that question of what films do I know with Tom Cruise in. I'm going to go for, it's a film called Live, Die, Repeat, but it's a bit confusing as to what the actual title is. It's a film basically with Emily Blunt, and I'm not going to do spoilers, but it's actually really good. He essentially dies in like the first 5 minutes. That's not a spoiler because it literally happens straight away. But he keeps on living the same day, and it's kind of sci-fi. There's aliens in it. It's kind of got some World War One references, and it's set in Paris, and it's brilliant. It's really good. It's really worth a watch.
I've never seen it. I might give that a watch, despite not really liking Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I thought when you said he died after 5 minutes, that was him done, and that's why it was your favourite. That's where I thought you were going with that. But
I
And the film
hate
was
Tom
finished.
Cruise. No, I actually really like Tom Cruise. I'm gonna disagree with Linda on this.
you are a Tom
Tip-
Cruise
tip-
fan.
I
typical.
think he's quite impressive, and he's very good in this film. So
The only thing I will say on that, I'm not a massive film fan or Tom Cruise fan, to be fair, but I'm glad nobody said Reacher. The fact that Tom Cruise, and this is not to be heightist, but at 5'4" or 5'5", whatever height he is, plays Jack Reacher, who's meant to be 6'7".
I was going to say in the book he's meant to be a giant,
Just
isn't he?
does not stack
He's
up. so I'm
actually
glad.
5'8", you know.
Is he 5'8"? There you go.
I'm glad
Sorry,
that I sat
Tom.
down, Sean.
If Tom's listening, we'll apologise to him for that. Sorry, Tom. Not Tom Orel, Tom Cruise. Cool.
What about your favourite Tom Cruise film?
Yeah, have you got a favourite?
A bit like Tom, I'd struggle to name you films that he's in, to be honest with you. I don't have a favourite.
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun's good, yeah.
The market in Sky Sports is so good that that's all I watch. I don't sit and watch movies. Yeah.
wow.
So
Will you say that
get
to
the
the
Sky
next
Cinema
guest?
marketing team in next time,
Tom
and
Cruise,
they
it's amazing.
they can tell us why I should be watching
Fantastic.
films. Yeah, but nah, not a massive film man. What about you?
I'd say Mission Impossible. I do like that kind of franchise. I think they're good films, but I really hope it is him that's in this. But is it American Made, where he plays the true story about the pilot who's is the pilot for Pablo Escobar? Really good film.
Oh,
Well, if it's not true, we'll just edit it afterwards.
yeah. I've not heard of that.
No, I mean, you know.
Good film, decent, yeah. True story. I like films based on
Yeah.
true stories.
Sounds like the type of thing I would like. So I'll maybe watch that and come back and agree with you on that one.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah,
That
Thank
is
you
a
so
wrap.
much.
It has been enjoyable, I think, for me, now getting to understand a little bit more about them little posters when I'm driving into the office and I see Leeds United on them bus stops and stuff, so that's been really exciting. So I hope everyone else at home or anyone that's viewing in has really enjoyed this. Please leave us some feedback in the comments, and other than that, join us next month for our future partnership podcast.